Hey everybody, Ian here. So happy February 22nd. Welcome to day 22 of the rom-com journey. Before I get even to my normal starting point, I know I haven't been posted these in I think the last 4 days. I've really been burned out from movies. It's hard watching a movie every day, even though I watch. I don't know, and I'm not sure what it is about a movie every day, but a movie every day is like, oh my god, I'm sick of movies. But so I took several days off and just kind of regrouped, and from this point on, I'm just going to do them every other day. I have like five more, including this one that's totally doable. And on multiple of these, I'll be doing several movies at a time. So you'll still probably get roughly 30 movies for the month. But yeah, I'm just kind of, you know, trial and error. You realize your limits as you go through life. But so anyway, before I actually get started, please don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Those are all very helpful to me and the channel. But so let's just get down to the movies. This is one of the days that I'm doing multiple movies. The movies that I watched today were Mamma Mia and Mamma Mia 2. I think it's actually Mamma Mia colon Here We Go Again. But I'm just going to spend... oh, dang it. I meant to get my... Rude. I meant to grab my phone, and it's across the room. I'll set a watch on my timer, or a timer on my watch. I'm just going to do 7 minutes... Oh, no, not 57. Oh, my gosh. 7 minutes and, I don't know, let's say 30 seconds to talk about each movie, just so this doesn't end up taking forever. Oh, it went off, but... I'm just waiting for the display to go to sleep, but it's not doing it. Okay. Okay, I was going to say if it doesn't do it by 7:15, I'll just stop. But so anyway, let's start with Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia 1. Just be warned. I had seen this movie. I saw this about 5 years ago, and I remembered the gist of it, and I didn't remember every single detail. But the first movie was not, there were no surprises to me in this. But the basic plot is that Amanda Seyfried. Oh, I should start with the cast. I'm sorry. The cast of both is basically the exact same. The first one is starring Meryl Streep, Pierce Brosnan, Colin Firth, a guy named Stellan Skarsgard, Julie Walters, Dominic Cooper, Amanda Seyfried, and Christine Baranski. And she was actually my favorite character in the first movie. But so the plot of the first movie is that Amanda Seyfried, she is about to get married at her mom, Meryl Streep's, Greek island hotel to that guy Dominic Cooper, who I recognize him all through the movie, but I looked at his filmography and I was like, I don't know what I know him from. It might have just been from seeing this movie before. But so Amanda Seyfried is about to marry this guy Dominic Cooper at Meryl Streep's Greek island hotel that she owns and has run for many years, and Amanda Seyfried, who has never known her father, invites three different men who all may be her father. Her mom dated all three of them this one summer, the summer she got pregnant, and there's overlap between the three. But those three men are Pierce Brosnan, Colin Firth, and Stellan Skarsgard. And she does this without letting Meryl Streep know, and then so Meryl Streep is surprised that, these three former lovers of hers are like, oh my god, at the hotel the night before my daughter's gonna get married. But so anyway, how am I doing so far? Okay, I have 5 minutes and 20 seconds left. My overall feeling on this is the same as this I saw it last time. It was fun. It was very enjoyable. It's a very energetic movie, which is good. And I only mean this to be like as shady as it is, no more or no less. What degree or what amount of shade there is could be debated. But it was really, really, really surprising to me that this movie worked as well as it did, because it was... This is an example of something being, the whole being much, much, much greater than the sum of its parts. The writing in the first one... And I'm just about to start tearing apart this movie, and then end with how much I still enjoyed it. The writing was weak. It was very weak writing. There was very little character development. It was a lot of flat dialogue. A lot of really cheesy and forced, like inorganic lead-ins for songs. They would start saying like, it wasn't this exaggerated, and they also didn't sing this song in the movie, but it would have been like if they had said like, oh, it was like there was something in the air that night and the stars were bright, and then led into the song Fernando where they sing there was something in the air that night, the stars were bright. And again, they don't do that exactly, and they don't sing the song Fernando in the first one, but it was that kind of thing. It would just be like, oh, that's okay. And I was not at all invested in the plot, which is, finding out who the dad is. And some of the developments in the movie, like at one point her boyfriend got mad at her and was like, these developments in the movie, like that one in particular, felt very forced and like inorganic. I think the creators of the movie, maybe the writers, needed something to happen. They needed a complication, or they needed a development, and they were like, okay, she'll fight with her boyfriend. She'll fight with her boyfriend. There we go. There. Oh yes, great. As for the acting, Meryl Streep was great. Obviously, she just is, and Amanda Seyfried was good. I think she's a good actor. But for the most part, the acting was kind of flat. Not many of the actors were particularly dynamic. As for the directing, and really that's all I have to say about the acting. As for the directing, there were a handful of those significant or like telling shots that I've talked about. A shot that gives you insight into the character's mind or situation. And there were a few times where something would be framed interestingly or amusingly, but for the most part, it didn't seem like there was anything particularly out of the ordinary. As for the music, they are very lucky that ABBA was the soundtrack. I like ABBA. I like ABBA's music. There was a summer that I listened to their Gold album almost every day. I found out that it was the perfect... I lived about 20 minutes away from my gym, maybe 15, and I found out that it was that album was the exact perfect length to like walk to my gym, do my workout, walk home, and then shower with it playing on the speaker, and then finish as I'm walking out of the shower. It was like just perfect, and so I just did that like 80 times in one summer, and so I know that album very well. Oh my god, a minute and a half left. But ABBA has energetic music, and I think that was what really helped the music. I mean, the movie have energy. I think this, if this had been any other music, maybe the Beatles. Even I'm not crazy about the Beatles. I have nothing against them. But there's not many artists that they could have just made, or acts that they could have just made a movie where the entire soundtrack is only their music. ABBA is fun. It's very rich music. There's lots and lots and lots going on, and it's kind of like a wall of sound. I like it. Pierce Brosnan cannot sing. Also, I'm not a fan of everyone getting up and singing all at once. I just find that weird and like inorganic. And so I don't like that about this movie. I didn't like when, the whole village, oh my god, they're all walking down to the beach singing with each other. I find that weird. And so as for the vibe, which is just how much I enjoyed watching the movie, oh my god, 24 seconds. I never got bored watching this movie, ever. Which is surprising, and considering the flaws of this movie that I have gone through, it's really surprising that this movie works as well as it does. It's I feel like it's like the movie version of like McDonald's. McDonald's has no substance. There's no like layers or like, deeper meanings to McDonald's. It's just very good. It just turns out to be very good. Oh my god, it's beeping. I'm just gonna leave it buzzing until I'm done. To remind me to hurry. But yeah, despite all of the lack of substance in McDonald's cheeseburgers are really good. I will enjoy those for the rest of my life. And similarly, despite everything it does wrong, Mamma Mia just ends up being really fun. I think it's the music, honestly. It was just very enjoyable. My favorite character, it was Christine Baranski. She was one of Meryl Streep's old friends from when they were young. I guess lifelong friends, and she was just very funny. I just really liked her. There it wasn't really a least favorite character. As for my little rating breakdown, I gave the writing a 1.1 out of 2. Like I said, it was very weak and flat, and not very there. It didn't seem like there'd been lots of development for each scene. The acting, I gave it a 1.4 out of 2, even though Meryl Streep and Amanda Seyfried, they did good jobs respectively. In general, like I said, it was just kind of flat in a lot of the time. I gave the directing a 1.5 out of 2. Like I've said before, that's kind of my starting point, and I go up or down from there. And I gave the music a 1.6 out of 2. This is the only one where I went up from my starting point. I just, like I was saying earlier, I like ABBA. And the soundtrack of this album is basically just their gold album, except resung by the cast. And the vibe, just how much I got out, how much I enjoyed watching the movie. It's just totally subjective. I gave it a 1.4 out of 2. Like I said, I never got bored in this movie, despite all its flaws. I never got bored. In the way that I never, I always enjoy McDonald's when I have it. Granted, I don't eat it that often, probably once every 3 months, 4 months, maximum. Actually, the past year, it's been more than that, but in general. But yeah, so the total 1.1 plus 1.4 plus 1.5 plus 1.6 plus 1.4 total should be a 7.0 out of 10, which I feel like is appropriate. When I was first kind of putting all this together, I was like, this doesn't seem like it should be in the 6s. That doesn't seem fair, despite all the flaws in those kind of first 4 more objective pillars of the rating. That's where the vibe comes in. I'll sometimes adjust that depending on what I feel like, the total score should be in the range of. But so anyway, let's go back up to the top. I'm going to hit repeat on my timer now. I'm going to try to actually stick to this limit. Okay. Before I, go into Mamma Mia 2, again, don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to my channel if you have not already. So Mamma Mia 2. The plot to this is that it's kind of a prequel and a sequel to Mamma Mia 1. It goes back and forth between the young adulthood of Meryl Streep's character and her falling in love that one summer with those 3 different guys from the first movie. And then it'll go forward to the post Mamma Mia 1 adulthood of Amanda Seyfried. I think 4 or 5 years later. And her just running the hotel after Meryl Streep's character she dies in between those movies, and the reason for that is because Meryl Streep doesn't do sequels. That's beneath her. She has never done a sequel, and she probably won't ever again after this. She was in one scene in Mamma Mia 2 at the very end. But so the overall feeling of this movie, before I get to the actual rating breakdown, it was not as enjoyable as the first one was, but the surprise is just as big, and the surprise is that it's enjoyable at all. It's again one of those things that just seems like it shouldn't have worked, but it did. It was fun. The writing was literally from the very beginning, it was just completely flat. I think I know I've said this before, but when you like movie characters, they're not supposed to just announce how they feel. They're not supposed to just announce what they're doing or their attitudes towards something. It's supposed to be revealed through their actions and maybe through the stuff around them, through the looks on their face, how they are feeling and what they're planning and what they're doing. But so literally the first scene in the movie is Amanda Seyfried saying oh, I'm so sad, that my mom is dead. But we've been working so hard for these past few years on this hotel that my mom, Meryl Streep, opened so many years ago. I hope I do her proud. I'm sure you'll do her proud. She, Meryl Streep, would be so proud of you. And that's just not how you're supposed to do movies. There's actually a line in an episode of Futurama. The first thing I ever learned about movies is that you're not supposed to do that. And there's a line in Futurama where someone's watching a play and he says, you can't just have your characters announce how they feel. That makes me feel angry. And I've just always remembered that that's a rule because of that. But so this movie is not good at following that rule. As for the acting, it was pretty similar to the first movie's acting without the boost of Meryl Streep. I thought Amanda Seyfried was good, and there was no one who was bad, but just a lot of flatness, not much dynamic acting. As for the directing, there were actually a number of interesting sequences because it would go back and forth from 1979 to like 2015, back and forth. And they would do interesting transitions kind of to and from those, and it wouldn't be clear until like 90% of the way through this 2-second transition that like, oh, we're going back to the past now. It was just interesting. It was interestingly framed and shot. This was actually the only area I think where the second one improved upon the first one. The music was not as fun as the original. It was all ABBA songs still, but I didn't know, because I listened to that, the Gold album every day for, like 4 months. Not every day for 4 months, but almost every day for 4 months. That's how long summers were at my college. But so they had a number of ABBA songs that weren't on that album in this movie, and that's fine. I wouldn't have liked it if they had just resung all the same songs. But so I couldn't I sing along to those because I didn't know them. But they also still sounded very ABBA. I was like, oh, this is a very clearly an ABBA song. I don't know exactly what their style is or their formula, but I think they have one. Having heard these other songs of theirs that I'd never heard before, sung by people who are not ABBA, I was like, this sounds like an ABBA song. It's just interesting to me. And as for the vibe, I did not find this movie at all unenjoyable. I enjoyed this movie the whole time. But I found this movie very, very stupid. It was just stupid. I kept pausing it and saying and like yelling into the void, "This is stupid." And it was just a stupid movie, even though it was fun and I enjoyed it. And I'd probably watch it again. I could see myself watching this movie like 3 more times over the course of the rest of my life. I don't need to see it 3 more times, but I could see myself. But it's just a very stupid movie. It was just stupid, even though it was enjoyable. From beginning to end, pretty much. It was just stupid from beginning to end. My favorite character was this guy who was, I don't know if he even had a name, but he was just this, he was present in the past and in the present scenes. But he was, they live on an island and there's a ferry that you have to take from the island to, the main part of Greece. And he's like the passport stamper at that ferry. Just waiting at the docks, and he just comments on all of their, like, oh, like, this is you, like, you looked better back then, like, age, like, time has not been kind to you. He was really funny. I think he probably had like 2 minutes of screen time total, but he was funny. And I didn't have a least favorite character in this movie either. My favorite scene, I don't think I talked about my favorite scene in the first one. It was the wedding scene, and it wasn't because it's a wedding. I didn't really care about that. Like I said, I wasn't really invested in the plot, but they just had I don't know if maybe it was because all the characters were together at once for maybe the first time, but it felt like the wedding in the first movie, Mamma Mia 1, was the dialogue was very quick and sharp, and it felt like it was firing very well, and it was funny. It was just enjoyable. My favorite scene in the second one was the last one where they sing Fernando. It was just, it felt like the most energetic scene of the movie. Also, Cher was there. I like Cher. One of those, like, one of the bad things they would do in this movie, and I felt like they were trying to be clever, but they were saying like, oh, I wish there was someone to share this with. And then Cher showed up. And at one point, someone told Pierce Brosnan that his character had piercing eyes. And it was like, I rolled my eyes so much listening to the dialogue in this movie. As for my little ratings breakdown, I gave the writing a 0.8 out of 2, down from a 1.1 in the first one. This movie was just very, very flat. Oh, my thing's going off. The acting I gave a 1.2, down from a 1.4 in the first movie. Like I said, it was basically all the stuff that Mamma Mia 1 did wrong without Meryl Streep to, boost it up. Although Amanda Seyfried, I think she was good, and I think she's a good actor. I think she's believable as a person that she's playing. I gave the directing a 1.6 out of 2, up from a 1.5 for the first one. This is actually the only one where I went up from the first one to the second one. Like I was saying, there were just a lot of those interesting shots and kind of fun, and it was just the camera work was more fun and more like fluid and kind of experimental almost in this movie, more so than the first one. I gave the music a 1.4 out of 2, down from a 1.6 in the first one, just because it was not as just not I didn't know the songs as much, and there are some of them that were kind of I felt this in the first one, but there were some that are kind of like, why is this song in here? They just wanted another ABBA song. Not that I mind, I like ABBA. The vibe I gave it, which is just how much I enjoy watching the movie. That's a 1.1 out of 2, down from a 1.4 for the first one. Yeah, it was just like I was saying just a minute ago. I found this movie just very stupid. It was just very stupid. Even though I enjoyed it, I was like the whole time. But so that the total should be 0.8 plus 1.2 plus 1.6 plus 1.4 plus 1.1. That should be a 6.1 out of 10, which I feel is fair. It didn't feel like it should dip below a 6, but it was not as good as the original, which was already kind of lacking, but still also fun. If the first one was McDonald's, surprising that it's so good, this was Burger King. It's still surprising that it's good. It's not as good as the other one, but still good. And so perhaps even more surprising that it is good, since it's a step down from the first. But so anyway, these movies, these were good. These were cute. These were fun. These were energetic. I liked these movies, and I have no problem with them being, like very... I don't know if they're modern classics, but just very, these don't feel like they're overhyped at all. Even though everyone loves them, I did not love these movies. I was far from loving these movies, but I was also far from disliking these movies. These were solid, and these were good, and these were fun. That's the most not important thing about movies in general, although that is important for me. But the fact that they were fun is one of the most important things about these two movies specifically. But so anyway, after roughly 20 minutes, I will cut this off. I will see you back here in 2 days on the 24th, and then the 26th and 28th. So I guess I only have 4, including today. But so anyway, but yeah, I think on 3 of those days, including this one, I'm doing 2 movies, and so there's only 1 day left where there will be 1 movie. But so anyway, I will see you all, you lovely people, on Wednesday the 24th, of today's Monday the 22nd. Thank you guys very much for watching. Sorry to make you wait several days in between the last one and this one, but tough shit, I guess. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Have a good night. Bye.